Well, that's good timing. The siren started just as the video starts. Hey everyone, Shabby Gamer here, and welcome back to some more SWE Universe Mode. We are here with some more Carnage. Last week we crowned a brand new Carnage champion. Can tonight's show match up with equality? And here we go, then we're going to start tonight's show off with a big fatal four-way table match. Abdullah Kobiashi, New Jack, Abdullah the Butcher, and the Necro Butcher. And here we go then, opening match of Carnage. First out is Little Red Riding Hood himself, Abdullah the... Yeah, that's what we're getting. It is Abdullah the Butcher. It annoys me sometimes when you have this in the game where it only allows you a certain amount of letters. The one that annoyed me the most was last year. This really got on my tits last year, right? 2K16. You could go into the universe mode and you could go to the tables, ladders, and chairs. Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs. I think it was pay-per-view, right? You went into that pay-per-view, then you went in to change the name of the pay-per-view, and you weren't as loud as many letters as the game already had in there. It frustrated me, that did. It really frustrated me. Like if you deleted a couple of words off that, you still got it. It didn't let you refill them. If that makes any sense. Oh, it was a right mess. It was a right mess. I'm really looking forward to 2K18 now, though. I feel like it is going to be a step up from this one now. We've done a lot on this game, and I feel like it'd be nice to bring it to a natural end as well. And next into this match then is going to be New Jack. As has been mentioned a few times in a previous episode, New Jack is quickly becoming the John Cena of Carnage. Just seems to win every single match. He really does win so much, it's unbelievable. And it'll be interesting if he does pull enough one off here. Of course, this is a Fatal 4-Way tables match, so first person to put somebody through a table is going to win that one. And it's going to be interesting to see which one pulls out of the bag. And again, it's really good. It's not going to help any of them really get into any positions, is it? Well, New Jack, based on his recent matches, New Jack is going to be involved in the Hardcore Championship match at Shabby Mania in a couple of weeks' time. However, the other guys, not much has been planned in for them at the moment. Not that I can see. No, so it'll be interesting. Of course, still at the end of this universe mode, you pick up the points and you'll take the points with you into 2K18 anyway. So it's definitely worth winning these matches as much as you possibly can as well. And next up then is going to be Abdullah Kobiashi. Eventually. Where are you? There you are. Abdullah Kobiashi. The Japanese Abdullah the Butcher. From Big Japan Wrestling. Pretty effective deathmatch wrestler. Of course, we all know from history that some Japanese people can be quite crazy when it comes to stuff like this. They really go all out with stuff like this, don't they, with the wrestling, and that's exactly what Abdullah Kobiashi is all about. And New Jack, you see New Jack's not even in the slightest bit intimidated by the entrance of Kobiashi. You see Abdullah the Butcher's dropped to the outside, but New Jack's just like, no, I'm staying in. We're going to be at the ring. This is my ring, bitch. And next up then, of course, the fourth and final member of this match is going to be Mr. Necro Butcher. I've got the Necro Butcher documentary on DVD somewhere. Was it Choose Death? There it is. It's written on his shirt. Yeah, Choose Death, the Necro Butcher DVD. It's an interesting documentary, actually. Very interesting. I don't know. I can't remember why he got it. Oh, was it because he was part of the... he was part of the cast of The Wrestler, wasn't he? The film The Wrestler. He was part of that cast, and I think that sort of got him quite big for a little bit of time, and he ended up making this DVD about his life in wrestling and this sort of stuff. And it was an interesting little watch. It really was, and it shows you sort of some of the parts of wrestling and why people get involved and the community. And the wrestling fan community is different to anything else. I can't even match it up to anything else. Wrestling fans are completely different to everybody, and it's a real good community. Actually, I really enjoy it. It's a very hardcore community, and it's a very community that looks after its own as well, I've noticed. As Kobiashi sending Abdullah the Butcher to the outside, and New Jack has a hold of the table now. And just whacks Necro Butcher straight in the face with that table and slams the table right across him now as well. Kobiashi and Abdullah the Butcher. Oh, Kobiashi catching Abdullah the Butcher with the running DDT. I think for this one, Kobiashi will be known as Kobiashi. Just for ease, of course, because of both being called Abdullah. And that's just going to confuse me, I think, if I do it too long. A Necro Butcher inside the ring with that table now, slamming it against the legs of New Jack, and now sending New Jack into the corner. And a knee strike in that corner as well. It's an interesting one, that. Necro Butcher going for a running knee strike in the corner. Utilising some pretty cool wrestling manoeuvres there. Necro Butcher wrestling the table away from New Jack, but New Jack catches him with a big right hand. Now 2 tables are in the ring. That one on the far side, not really well propped up in that corner. As Abdullah the Butcher taking Kobayashi up into that slam. Be interesting as well, because I'd like to have this match as an elimination potentially, but that's not the way that it is actually designed, is it? And look at this, look. They're both just swinging tables at each other, not be able to hit each other. This is just hilarious sometimes, isn't it? Really is hilarious. Look at it. What a disaster. There we go. New Jack finally knocking Abdullah the Butcher over. Abdullah the Butcher can't roll out the way. Table sinks into the ring. It's like every single episode of this now just turned into an episode of Glitchamania. Glitchamania. Abdullah the Butcher breaking free from Necro Butcher's grasp. Necro Butcher catching him with the right hand. Now what we've got planned for you for the rest of this evening, we have got next up Lance Storm one-on-one against Brian Pillman. We have also got for you Juventud Guerrera taking on Manik. Then we're going to see my favourite member of the Carnage roster, Deisuke Sekimoto, taking on Timothy Thatcher. And then in our main event here this evening, Eric Young will take on Dean Ambrose. I would say one-on-one, but we know wherever Eric Young is, Sanity will not be far behind. And Eric Young, somebody who really needs to pick up these points as much as he possibly can, building forward towards 2K18, because of course all of Sanity will be part of 2K18. Of course, Sanity are the current tag team champions as well, which they will be defending at Shabby Mania against the Dudley Boys. That's a Russian leg sweep there by New Jack. Now New Jack working over Abdullah Kobayashi. Ooh, reverse suplex, almost caught that table. New Jack sending Kobayashi face first into the table. Abdullah the Butcher now is back up as well. Slamming the head of Kobayashi into the mat. New Jack just ejecting Kobayashi from the ring as Necro Butcher bringing Abdullah the Butcher across, slamming him face first into that table. And again, straight into that table. And again, straight into that table by Necro Butcher. And again, straight into... No. He got bounced onto... Oh my god. It's comical. He just tripped over the table that was on the far side that's defying the laws of gravity right now. Bulldog there by Necro Butcher on Abdullah the Butcher. Wrestling the table away from Kobayashi. Big kick right in the side, the leg of Necro Butcher. And Kobayashi, the only man up on his feet now. Kobiashi taking Necro Butcher up onto his shoulders into a Samoan drop. Running dropkick by New Jack. Necro Butcher now. Oh, just launching New Jack into the ropes. And Abdullah the Butcher setting that table up in the corner. And he is alone in the ring with New Jack. If Abdullah the Butcher can take full advantage here, he might be able to win this one. Here he is now taking New Jack up for the powerbomb and puts him straight through the table. And that is the end of the match. Abdullah the Butcher does pick up the victory. Abdullah the Butcher defeating Necro Butcher, Abdullah Kobiashi, and of course New Jack in this Fatal 4-Way ladder match. It was an interesting match actually. And it's points that Abdullah the Butcher is desperate to get a hold of for pushing forward into 2K18. That's good points for him, that is. That is worth 20 ranking points of Fatal 4-Way. So that's really going to help him up. I think we're going to have a separate hardcore rankings on 2K18, I think. Keep the hardcore guys separate from the normal guys, I think. And here is our second match of the evening, and it is going to be Lance Storm taking on Flying Brian Pillman. And here we go. Interesting one, this. Both these guys... Well, Lance Storm's not had a huge amount of opportunities so far in this universe mode. Brian Pillman's always been someone who's been touted around here and there, but not really given too many opportunities. We weren't quite sure what to do with Pillman, to be honest, were we? Were we going to have him as... Were we going to have him as a main eventer? Were we going to have him as a... There we go. So I've got that noise popped up on the side there. Are we going to have him as a cruiserweight, a hardcore, tag team, part of... part of the Hart Foundation stable? There was lots of different things we could do with him. And I don't think he's really found his space anywhere yet to where he can be long term, which is a little bit of a shame. And Lance Storm's got a chance here to pile the pressure back on, I suppose. And Lance Storm's someone who I think he'll want to get some more points as much as he possibly can. He'll want to push himself forward. And he's a guy that can be top level. I was a big fan of Lance Storm, actually. I don't know why, because he was like the least charismatic wrestler ever to exist in the world, but still he was he just had that something about him that gave him that's why he was so good. I think it's because he wasn't very charismatic. He was such a dry character that he was able to offer something that not a lot of other people could. And yeah, I really enjoyed him, actually. Of course, in this universe mode, he is part of the Impact players alongside Just Incredible. But being utilised here in singles competition, this might be the first chance he's had some singles competition, I think. I don't think he's had too many opportunities before this. That's Pillman just getting right in the face of that blonde lady in the front row. Yeah. Don't tell me you wouldn't. So there, here we go. Lance Storm versus Mr. Flying Brian Pillman. And here we go. So like I said, later on this evening we got for you Juventud Guerrera. The Juice taking on Manik. We've got Deisuke Sekimoto taking on Timothy Thatcher. And then your main event, Eric Young versus Dean Ambrose. Interesting night tonight, actually. See some very cool stuff. There's a knee in the face there by Brian Pillman, and taking Lance Storm up and drops him in a big gutbuster. Slamming him arm first into the mat now as well. And Pillman is in control. Went for the Lion Salt and catches the Lion Salt as well. I didn't think he was very well positioned, but he... Well, better than I thought he was, honestly. Pillman sent a Storm off the ropes into the big drop kick. And Pillman taking the opportunity here to taunt the crowd. Maybe not the best idea in the world, to be honest. Lance Storm, though, taking Pillman up. There you go. If Pillman hadn't been up on the top taunting, he might have been in a better position here. He might not have been caught out. And now Lance Storm taking control of the match. Big kick in the spine. Before now dragging Brian Pillman away from the ropes. Again, stamping on the arm. And Lance Storm, a bit more of a technical side to him, I suppose. Of course, his finisher maneuver is that big super kick. Storm willing. Pillman back up. Nice drop kick straight to the face of Brian Pillman. And a big boot across the back as well. Lance Storm now. Nice senton. And Storm is in control. Like I said, he's not the most entertaining man to watch in the world, is he? As Brian Pillman taking control back with the elbow in the gut. Now sending Storm into the corner. Hoist him up high. What has Pillman got planned from this angle? Looks like it's going to be a super backdrop. And then it's folding Lance Storm in half. Pillman now rolling Storm over. There's the pin. Referee really slow to get down. 1, 2. Only a 2 count. But Pillman taking the life out of Storm. He's not got much left in him. Oh. Short, sharp DDT. As Pillman heads up top. Storm slowly getting back up to his feet, but Pillman stalking, waiting. Oh, big drop kick, perfectly executed. Right in the face, and the boot across the chest as well of Lance Storm. Lance Storm actually very prolific now with his wrestling school. Has trained quite a lot of people who have ended up in the NXT school. There's the pin. 1, 2. And again, Brian Pillman only able to keep Lance Storm down for a 2. Pillman taunting away the crowd. Remember last time he did that, Pillman, you got caught out and Storm was able to get back and control the match, and the same thing has happened once again. Pillman gets caught out. Storm taking control. Storm now bringing Pillman back up into the turnbuckle. He goes. Pillman fighting back there with that elbow in the face. Instead of Storm into the corner. More sirens. It's going crazy around here. Big tornado DDT by Pillman. What's Pillman's finisher maneuver? I don't honestly know. But I feel like if he uses it right now, he's going to win this match. Pure and simple, if he uses it now, he's won the match. Pillman again up on the top, taunting the crowd. It's just... He's taken his chances. The last 2 times he's done that now, Storm's been able to get back in control. But this time, I don't think he's going to be able to. Pillman now... here we go. This looks like some sort of signature or finisher. Springboard clothesline by Brian Pillman on Lance Storm. There's the pin. 1, 2. And flying Brian Pillman is victorious. Unfortunately for us, Brian Pillman is not yet being confirmed for 2K18. However, they have announced a few extra names this week, so there's a chance he might still be on there. Not 100% sure, but there's a chance he might still be on there. The 2 people that have not yet been announced at the point of me recording this, that I really want, is Brian Pillman and Arn Anderson. And I think they're the only people so far that have been taken off of 2K18 from 2K17, so hopefully we'll get those announced at some point in the very near future. Because I like Brian Pillman. And PJ Tovey also likes Brian Pillman. So yeah, I want to see some more from him, I really do. And it's a big win for him here. He's going to get some points for that, which is definitely going to help him out. Like I said, if he is not on 2K18, we probably will have him in as a core anyway, so I won't worry too much about it. But I would like to see him on the game. He deserves to be on the game. He's a legend. And next up then is going to be a chance for the cruiserweights to impress. Juventud Guerrera takes on Manik. And here we go, a chance for the cruiserweights here on Carnage to show what they're all about. Now, it was suggested a few days ago as well by... Who was it? I always forget who suggests these things, you know. I do apologise. I try and remember as much as I can. I have got it written down on a piece of paper. I've got the piece of paper at work because I really like the idea. Let's have a quick look. I can find it here. I can find it. It was... Sorry, I'm just waiting for it to load up. Takes a long time. It was... I think it might have been I Will one. It was I Will one or Little Mark Strike, I think. I've had that many comments in the last few weeks. You guys have been fantastic. You really have. You guys have been really fantastic. I really appreciate you all still watching, to be honest. 'Cause I know it's getting quite close to the end now, and it's It was I Will one. He suggested utilising an X Division Championship on Carnage next year, by keeping the 2 cruiserweight belts on the other 2 shows. And that's a really good idea because with the amount of wrestlers we've got now, there's been a big influx in cruiserweights on the new game as well. Plus we've got a few cruiserweights that suit this hardcore brand, like Pentagon Jr. And possibly even Phoenix and Drago coming over here towards Carnage as well. Manik again is a guy who suits his roster quite nicely, but can also be utilised in some pretty hardcore matches, and a few more. It's more along the lines of the Japanese guys. If you watch Lucha Underground and so forth, you see they do go down that line of pretty hardcore wrestling quite often. So it'd be interesting. And yeah, it's a good idea, and I think it's one that we might try and take up for 2K18. So Juventud Guerrera, the Juice, takes on Manik. Previously played, of course, by TJ Perkins in that one. Manik in control early on, then that big punch in the face. So yeah, like I say, if we do bring in a X Division Championship in Carnage, which is very possible, then these 2 guys will need the ranking points here this season to give them a chance. That's if they stay on Carnage. There's no guarantees that any of these 2 guys will be involved in 2K18. The only way you can guarantee your place is if you're a champion. However, they might be picked. Who knows? PJ and myself might pick them for our brands, or they might end up here on Carnage as well. And of course, if you don't know already, the way we're going to do the draft is that I'm going to pick Throwdown and Octane. PJ Tovey will pick Mayhem and Adrenaline. And we will agree on a roster for Carnage beforehand. So possibly what we will do is we will get together and we will we'll agree the roster first, I think, for we'll agree the roster for Mayhem for Carnage first, and then once we've done that, we'll draft whoever's left, because Carnage for me has a very specific roster. It needs very specific people for it to work because of its style. And I think that's really the best way of doing it anyway. Nice drop kick to the knee there by Manik, who went for the Axe Crusher, but pushed away there by Juvi, who ducks the clothesline now. Big boots into the calves of Manik, who drops to the ground. Juvi with the pin. Only a 1 count. Manik kicks out. Juvi now, big elbow right in the forehead of Manik. For Juvi now popping over the top. Willing Manik back up to his feet. What's he got planned here? Springboard drop kick on Manik. Juvi now locking the legs, and oh, nice submission hold there. Similar style to a cloverleaf, I suppose, just held in a different direction. Just pinning those legs around each other. Manik breaking free. Slapping the face there of Juvi now. Heading up to the top rope. What has Manik got planned from the high risk maneuver? Oh, a spiral tap. And Manik now taunting away. Or is he? Or is he lining up Juvi? He stalks the ground and Hoovy club blow against the back, brings him back up to his feet now. And there's a Pele kick, caught him while he was running straight into it. But Hoovy straight back up, no setting it completely. Into a Saito suplex. Is Hoovy Guerrero doing a people's elbow here? Juventud Guerrero just hit a people's elbow as a signature maneuver? And a Michinoku driver for the win. Hooks the leg of suicide, or Manik should I say, 2. No! Manik kicks out. Hoovy heads up top. 680 senton. I thought it was a 450, but 680 senton. Telling Manik to go suck it. And then standing shooting star. Manik back up to his feet, catching Hoovy with a jawbreaker. Up on the shoulder now. There's the GTS. Well, similar sort of GTS. Manik dropping a boot on the back of Hoovy. It's been a pretty interesting match between these two. There's been lots of back and forth, and finally, oh, the dragon suplex set up into a code breaker. There's the pin. 1, 2, and I was about to say Manik wins it, but evidently not. Manik now dragging Hoovy middle of the ring. Standing corkscrew moonsault. And a standing moonsault as well. Into a lion salt from the top rope, but it was just too high up. And he completely missed Hoovy. That's a little bit embarrassing, isn't it? A little bit embarrassing. Manik dropping a boot on the back of the arm of Hoovy. 2. Still only a 2. Manik, big running elbow drop right to the back of the head of Hoovy. Bringing Hoovy up again, getting in the back. Into that code breaker. And surely this time it's going to be enough for Manik, is it? No, he's not even going to go for the pin. He's going to continue the assault, slamming the knee of Hoovy into the mat. And now boots right in the face. Manik, I'm surprised he's not gone for the pin here. I thought he's hit some real high impact maneuvers in the last few minutes. I thought it'd be a bit obvious to go for the pin now. But instead he's just shouting towards the crowd. He's given Hoovy a bit of time to recuperate here, but evidently not enough. Oh no, it is. Hoovy playing possum, able to break free. There's the arm breaker. Does Hoovy have enough to finish off Manik now, though? Up to the top rope goes Hoovy. Seated senton. Springboard crossbody. Into the wheelbarrow bulldog. What has Hoovy got next? Just stalking Manik as he slowly gets back up to his feet. Springboard drop kick. And the Juice takes a step back into the corner and surveys his hard work. Boot in the gut now of Manik as well. Into the front chancery. Manik breaking free though, sending Juice face first into the mat. So of course Hoovy did start this universe mode. Mask, but of course he lost it in Season 1 in a match against Psychosis. Mask versus Mask. There's the pin. 1, 2, and Manik still can't pull off the free count. This is crazy. This is crazy. How is Hoovy surviving? Manik up top once again. Stalking. Hoovy once again. Again, a big missile dropkick. So many missile dropkicks in this match. But does Manik have the ability to finish Hoovy off? Standing moonsault. Manik bringing Hoovy back up to his feet. Went for the overhand, but Hoovy avoids it with the forearm of his own. And another one. Hoovy sending Manik to the outside. This is quickly becoming a very, very good match. And over the top senton by Hoovy, taking Manik down. Hoovy sending Manik back into the ring, and is that dive going to be enough to win the match? But no, Manik back up to his feet now as Hoovy looking to add a little bit more insult to injury. Brings him up, reverse Dragon Sleeper into the reverse Bloody Sunday as well. Hoovy still not going for the pin. Still looking for more offense. Springboard 450. But still not going for the pin. Wow. Juice is really been a little bit lax here, but now the end could be near. Stalking. Manik takes him up. Michinoku driver. Hooks the legs. 1, 2. And there was no way Manik was going to kick up another one of those, was he? But what a match that was between two top-class cruiserweights here in Carnage. A little bit surprised how good it was, to be honest, but this might just have the best match playlist all over it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think this match deserves a place in that playlist? I think it's definitely been our match of the night so far. It's been very impressive. Lots of false finishes, lots of high-impact maneuvers. Big dive by Hoovy to the outside. It was a very impressive match. There was the Michinoku driver to finish it off though. Hoovy, for the second time in the match, hitting it, hooking the legs, and Manik was not going to kick out of a second one, was he? So Hoovy does pick up the ranking points, which, like I said, is very important moving forward towards 2K18, because those are the points that if you end up on a brand of a Cruiserweight Championship, or potentially if Carnage keeps him, like I said, there will be probably going to be a division on Carnage similar to that sort of thing that I think would suit Hoovy quite well. And here's our next match of the evening. It's going to be a bit of strong style as Deisuke Sekimoto takes on Timothy Thatcher. And here we go then. Like I said, my favourite man on the roster at this point in time. Only because I think he's had 2 matches and both of them I think are going to end up on the best match playlist. And he's someone I hope we get a hold of in 2K18 as well. Because like I said, definitely a favourite of mine. Yeah, who's he had so far? I think he faced off against Taz, which was an amazing match. And then faced off against Oni Lorcan. And now here he is, facing off against Timothy Thatcher. I think we'll definitely do some sort of... strong style tournament, I think, on 2K18, I believe. I think it's going to help us out a lot when we can have the match editor as well, because no spoilers here, but PJ Toby has mentioned about doing maybe some sort of MMA style tournament based on some of the guys who have done a lot of MMA in the past, like Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley or people like that, and it could be an interesting idea. And if we can then change match types to have certain things, for example, if I can make a cage match where the only way to win is by knockout or submission, then we could potentially do some sort of MMA style brawl, which I think would be good. And you could have other people there. You've got Dan the Beast 7, you've got Ken Shamrock, and one thing that a lot of people don't know, right, and I'm going to enlighten probably 95% of you here, because this is something that shocked me when I found out. Jack Gallagher is currently 2-0 in MMA. 2 wins, 0 losses. Yep, Jack Gallagher is an MMA fighter. There you go. Bit of useless knowledge there for you. I don't know if he still does it now, because of course he's WWE contract, and whether they'd actually allow him to do that. To be honest, I'm not sure if they would allow him to do that, to be honest, but it's an interesting idea either way. But yeah, that's one that will surprise a lot of you. And also Kushida from New Japan. He's done a lot of MMA in the background as well. Of course, there's some obvious ones like Minoru Suzuki. He has a lot of MMA background. So there's quite a few people that would really make a pretty good tournament, but it's all down to having the correct match type and so forth, which is what I'm hoping to get with the match editor on 2K18. There you go. So Timothy Thatcher now wrenching back with a standing Kimura lock on Deisuke Sekimoto. Like I said, this is going to be another pretty good match, I can feel it. Both guys great with the strikes and these strong maneuvers. Look at this. Look at this stuttering vertical suplex holding Thatcher up there, making him think about it. Allowing all the blood to rush to his head. And what that does, it makes your legs feel a little bit weaker when you try and get up. It's difficult to get up. There you go, launching Thatcher across the ring now with that alley-oop style suplex. Sekimoto now trying to bring Thatcher back up, but Thatcher, a lovely little dragon screw there on Deisuke Sekimoto. I tell you what, I've been watching a lot of NXT recently, and I really appreciate the matches between Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. That's some of my favourite little feud that's been in NXT for quite some time, because those matches were brutal. Real stiff matches, and I think Lorcan went for a little period of time, didn't he? I think in 2 matches, I think he broke Hideo's nose, and he also busted open Danny Burch as well, so that was a pretty interesting little run for him. But yeah, I think by looking at it as well, I don't want to give away any spoilers, because I know I'm quite bad at this, and I do read the NXT tapings results, but by the looks of it, it looks like they might even be pushing Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan to team together at some point. Because there was a situation where Lorcan was being assaulted and Burch came out to make the save. So that would be interesting, because I feel like the two guys, it's very similar to the Sheamus Cesaro situation. That's why I looked at it earlier when I saw it. Where you have 2 guys that have gone away and earned their respect for each other for quite a while, and then they come back with a new respect for each other, and they end up becoming friends out of it, and that's very similar to the whole thing. Thatcher now just grabbing a hold of the trapezius now, Deisuke Sekimoto. And of course, don't forget, we still have a main event for you here this evening. It will be Dean Ambrose taking on Eric Young, and of course, where Eric Young is, Sanity is not far behind. Sekimoto dropping a boot right in the face of Thatcher, but Thatcher rolls out the way of a second one, catching Sekimoto into a front chance with big knee in the face. Thatcher sending Sekimoto into the corner. Sekimoto fighting back with the elbow, and a belly-to-belly suplex into the turnbuckle. I think it's just his moveset that I really like. His moveset is really cool. It's just hard hitting Sekimoto's moveset, isn't it? Sekimoto now stalking and dropping an elbow right in the back of the head of Thatcher. Slamming him arm first into the mat now as well. Locking him into that half Nelson slam. Now slamming the arm into the mat as well. But Thatcher's doing really well here, actually. I think Taz defeated Sekimoto, didn't he, I think? If my memory serves me right. And Sekimoto defeated Lorcan. So he's had a bit of a mixed bag, Sekimoto, apart from just the quality of the matches he's been having. But at the same time, just the Thatcher poses another completely... It's not a completely different style, but it's a completely different mentality, a different person, different strengths and weaknesses. And it just means that Sekimoto has to adapt his game ever so slightly, but the moment he's doing really well with that running clothesline in the corner. Bringing Thatcher back up to his face. Back up to his face? Back up to his feet, should I say. Takes him up. Oh, big jackknife powerbomb. Now Sekimoto taking Thatcher up high. Thatcher fighting back though, and makes way back down to join Sekimoto, takes him down. And that's exactly what you expect from Thatcher. That's more sort of a wrestling style, mat wrestling. Nothing too fancy. He had the chance to go high risk there, but it's not his style. Stamping now on the gut of Sekimoto now. Grabs a hold of him. First gut wrench, grabs the hip. Keeps the grip and rolls the hip. I forgot my own phrase there. In for a second. Keeps the grip, rolls the hip. Into the third. Trifecta of gut wrench suplexes is not enough for Timothy Thatcher to win this match. Just when you thought it was. Just when you thought it was safe for Thatcher to come out. But here he is now wrenching that arm back of Sekimoto. Is Sekimoto going to tap? Sekimoto is planned in for a match at Shabby Mania. And he does tap. Wow. Sekimoto taps out here to Timothy Thatcher from that armbar. Great win for him. And not the best result for Sekimoto, but like I said, he might be thinking about what he's got moving forward. Sekimoto does have a match set up against Chris Hero, or Cassius Ono, if you will, at Shabby Mania. Another big, strong style, hard-hitting match. That's one of the things I really like about this roster, is that Oni Lorcan, Timothy Thatcher, Deisuke Sekimoto, Chris Hero combination. Next week we've got Hero versus Lorcan for you. This sort of group of hard hitters I'm really liking. I really am. What a win there then for Timothy Thatcher, pulling off a big win over Deisuke Sekimoto. Okay then, time for our main event of the evening. Dean Ambrose takes on Eric Young, and like we said, wherever Eric Young is, Sanity is not far behind. And here we go. So Dean Ambrose, not had a lot to do so far in Carnage. I must admit, he's not had the best of time, has he? Has he wrestled very often? Oh, that's not right. Where have you been? Where have you been? There you are. Anything interesting there? Nope. Nothing interesting there. Why you got the championship belt on? Oh, this game is so freaking glitchy. It's unbelievable. Yeah. He shouldn't have that belt on. I've taken it off him on several occasions. But there you go. That's what you get. That's what you get. I don't know. Come on, 2K18. Where are you? I can't be dealing with this glitchy crap anymore. This has happened quite a few times now. Quite a few times this happened to me now. It's you take a championship belt off somebody, but then they still appear with it afterwards. It's a real weird thing. And here we are then. Well, you got Eric Young there. But of course this is your Carnage Tag Team Champions. And the belt has now become part of Sawyer Fulton. He's actually absorbed half of the belt into his stomach. And Alexander Wolf, of course, his tag team partner, allowing Killian Dane to do some singles action. And this is all about Eric Young here tonight, though. I'm looking forward to this one, actually. It's a match that I think we're going to see some more of soon. I don't think it'll be too long before Sanity make their way up to the main roster. There's a big influx of talent coming into WWE now, into NXT. There's been I think about 2/3 of the women's tournament have been signed up already. There are quite a few more that are on the brink of signing. I did a bit of reading up on it the other day. What was it? A lot of them already signed. Of course, we knew a lot of them already. But the ones that weren't signed, the main ones were Piper Niven, Tony Storm, Jazzy Galbert. They weren't signed, but I did read that on the finals of the Mae Young Classic, WWE actually paid for Piper Niven to be flown back from Japan to be at the finals, so they could also talk to her about potentially joining up with WWE as well, which I think is a really good thing. And Toni Storm's only 21. She's that good at wrestling already, and she's only 21, so Won't surprise me if we definitely see her in WWE in the near future as well. But of course, it's Kairi Sane at the moment. Kairi Sane, again, I don't want to give you any more major spoilers. I'll give you like minor spoilers. Kairi Sane had her first match on the NXT tapings. And the other person to debut was Tainara Conti. I was really impressed with her actually the first round of the Mae Young Classic. She was the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wrestler. I was really impressed with her and her style in the ring. I think she was knocked out first round, but she made her debut in the tapings as well. And she made a big impact in the debut tapings as well. That's all I'll tell you about that. I'm never wearing my dinner might burn, you know. I'm hoping not. Ambrose clubbing blow across the face of Eric Young. Young fighting back out to the back of Ambrose. Ambrose fighting back at the back of Young. Bit of a merry-go-round going on here. So of course you only saw a couple of people come out during the entrance for Sanity, but Killian Dane is there as well. Of course the game allows you to have 3 managers, but they neglected the idea of putting in a 4-way entrance on 2K17, which is a little bit stupid really. Yeah, you can have these people, but you can't have these people, which didn't make much sense to me. So yeah, bit of a weird one. But of course in 2K18 that is no longer going to be a problem because we do have 4-man entrances. Double axe handle by Dean Ambrose, but gets caught now in the reverse DDT. Knee in the back of the head of Ambrose there by Eric Young, and dropping a boot in the back. And Eric Young taking control of the match now. Big elbows right across the chest of Dean Ambrose. As Young sending Ambrose into the turnbuckle. Now, of course, don't forget we have one more episode left of Carnage before we hit Shabby Mania. That'll be for you next week as I hit the microphone with my pop filter. That's always handy. Main event next week is going to be a big one. Bruiser Brody versus Luke Harper one-on-one. We've also got for you Chris Hero versus Oni Lorcan. We've got a Cruiserweight triple threat in Aerostar, La Parka and Psychosis. We have got a Hardcore triple threat in Hayabusa, Junkazai and Numizawa. And we'll also see Just Incredible versus Stevie Richards. So a great show for you next week. But of course it is all about Shabby Mania. Now the main event of Shabby Mania I'm going to announce to you right now. Braun Strowman, of course, won the championship last week away from Raven in what was classed as really as a squash match. Now, who would be the only person that could take Braun Strowman down? Now, we looked at the roster and we really struggled to find someone who we thought was going to be a genuine threat to Braun Strowman. However, there was one man who pleaded with us to have that opportunity, and that man is Bray Wyatt. Bray said that he made the Beast, and he would be the one to take the Beast back down. So Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman is going to be our main event for Shabby Mania for the Carnage Championship. I really hate when videos bloody pop up on your computer while you're recording and it makes me a bloody noise. Also, I've announced already we're going to have a Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk match. Of course, they're 2-2 at the moment. As we said earlier on, Sanity defending their tag team championships against the Dudley Boys as Eric Young now into that Death Valley driver sit out. There's the pin on Dean Ambrose. 1, 2, and 3. Eric Young just hammered Dean Ambrose. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Eric Young hammers Dean Ambrose and gets himself a lovely 10 ranking points. Of course, it's double because it is the main event of the show. That was a bit out there for me. That really was a bit out there for me. I was a bit surprised. It's amazing, you know. I always put main events on slow momentum, especially for pay-per-views. But in normal shows as well, I normally do it as well, unless it's a tag team match or anything like that. That I won't. But the main event always seems to be the quickest match of the night. I don't know why it does it, but it's weird, isn't it? It really is a weird way of doing it. But there you go. So like I said, Eric Young gets himself 10 ranking points, which will be very, very good for him because it's going to be important for him to start off 2K18 very, very strong. And of course, if Sanity do keep the Tag Team Championships at Shabby Mania, then Eric Young will be staying on this brand alongside, of course, Sawyer Fulton, Alexander Wolf, Killian Dane, and Nikki Cross. Wow. What a match. It was what match, was it? What a night, should we say, because there was a couple of really good matches. I was really impressed by Manik versus Hoovy, actually. That really took me by surprise how good that match really was. But that's the end of tonight's show. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, please do slap a like. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see some more. I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you all very, very soon for our next episode of the SWE. And, of course, we are now on the final stretch. The last episode of each brand before Shabby Mania. Bye.
Bye.